Doo-doo-doo-doo. All the stars are closer. All the stars are closer. Ooh. All the stars were closer. All the stars are closer. Ooh. I don't know. I wish I could sing that song. Good morning. Having a little mic issue cutting out. That's okay. That happens. Now it's ringing. Sorry. I think it might be all the shit I have hanging on the mic. Maybe that's like not a good thing. Maybe it's not a good thing. I'll have it hanging down. That's better. Hi, Oomph. How are you? Wow, you're early. You're early today. Interesting. How you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, I was just singing a song. Let's see. Good morning. It's Monday again, and here we are. It's Monday again, and here we are. Woo woo. Woo woo. Love Mondays. What's that song? I hate Mondays. Tell me why. I don't like Mondays. I don't like Mondays. Wanna burn the whole world down. Whatever she says. Good morning. How are you? I hope your weekend was good. Mine was good. Really, I think the only thing I really remember is going out and doing the Tesla thing. That's literally all I remember from this weekend. I don't really know what happened. Well, I kind of do, but it's not really important. Anyway, good morning, Pepper and Teresa. Oh my gosh, so nice to see friends. So good to see all of you. So nice, so nice. I was a little lazy. I mean, I'm going to admit I was a little lazy, and I didn't actually look at all my Congress things, which I normally do look at. So I didn't do it. It's already a busy morning. Paulina, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? I'm good with coffee now. I got my coffee on time. I didn't let it do its thing. But while I tell you what we're gonna do, so today there is a SCOTUS. It's not too bad, actually. I mean, this is my time I wake up, so maybe I'm just always like this. Maybe I'm just always like this. Usually on the weekend. Oh, okay. Yes. I want to talk about that. Oh my God. Yes, Teresa. I saw where Marine Le Pen is barred, convicted of embezzlement and barred from running for office. Let me tell you how angry I am. Okay? France knows what to do. Fucking Brazil knows what to do. What the? South Korea knows what to do. What's our problem? Literally, we were the beacon of democracy and justice. And yet, now all the other countries are, I guess, doing the beaconing stuff. And we're just like, well, I'm sorry. We're an authoritarian regime now. Sorry. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. And, again, it's the it was great to be out there. Like I need to be doing more. I just should talk about myself. I need to do more. I need to do more of that. I need to do more of whatever I can do, right? Because I supposedly have time. That has been a facade for some time now. It's corruption. Absolutely. I mean, Marine Le Pen has a long history of corruption, but her country was willing to let her be the face of the conservative movement in France. Well, now the courts have stepped in and done what they're supposed to do. Iggy! Oh, my bestie. I love you. Iggy. The courts have stepped in. Iggy stepped in and knew what to do, and she took care of them. And now the world is better. No. The court stepped in over in France, did what they're supposed to do, And over here, we're in the process of having an argument as to whether or not we should abolish the courts. I'm like, what? What? What country is this? Ah. I just want to thank everyone who was so great to Bobo on Saturday too. Thank you so much for being a great, well, so just a great people. Bobo was really appreciative of it, and so I just want to tell you that it was really great to have so much support in the chat. It was nice because I wasn't able to do anything about it. So I appreciate everyone giving her support. Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. Am I muted? No. Am I muted? Hi, Badger. I don't think I'm muted. Oh, thank God. Whew. Phew. All right, Badger, check your listings. What? I said, am I muted? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, she's awesome out there with her Dino Mama. Yeah, she is great. She's just a great person. So, yeah. Yeah. Hi, Jane. Hi. I have no hydro. What? Where are you? Badger, why don't you have any water? You're sitting in a parking lot? Oh my God. Your brain is muted. Paul J, it's good to see you. Good to see you. I love it. I love it. Hi, friends. So yeah, we have SCOTUS this morning. Looks like Catholic Charities. Let's see, what's the other question? Did Wisconsin violate 1A religion protections? Ugh, who cares? Oh my God. I don't care. Religion is terrible. Period. It makes people think they're something when they're nothing or they're just normal. Like, oh my God. Max, what are you saying? I unfortunately watched Elmo. Oh, I couldn't watch it. No, Max, you're absolutely right. I heard him say half of one sentence and I had to turn it off. And I can usually listen to some pretty bad stuff. I can't listen to him. Now, I hope that this $1 million check thing gets him in a fuckwad of trouble. And we'll read about that. I actually have some stuff to do about that. Let me actually look now that I'm so terrible. Do 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 do. Ooh, ooh, all the stars are closer. All the stars are closer. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? No. Nope. Okay, fine. You know what? It's gonna kill me. All right, I have to go to the house. I have to go to the house. Whoops. I have to go to the house. House.gov. House.gov. That's right. House.gov. House.gov. Oh my God. They're tearing apart all of our stuff. What time is that? 4 p.m. Okay, well, forget you. Forget you. Nothing happening in Congress. Well, we'll listen to the whatchamacallit. Do 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 do. Wait, where are you? That's not the Senate. Oh, it is the Senate. That's not the Senate, but it is the Senate today. No committee hearings scheduled. Okay, fine. Whatevs. Fine. We'll do what we want. We don't need you. We have the SCOTUS. So we have SCOTUS at 7. That's fine. The odds of Schimmel winning are really bad. I liked when Musk admitted that part. Yes. Yes. I wouldn't watch Emily. Yeah, it was so hard, Butterflies. It was so bad. Like, we listen to bad stuff, right? This was bad. This was like, you're going to pull your hair out and go commit a felony bad, right? Ooh, Paul J. Any news about an appointment? Yeah, he is on Mars. I think he's a little scared. I think he's a little like, there's a little more resistance than I thought there would be because he doesn't know how things work. And he lives in his bubble. I mean, you have to remember that as billionaires, like I've hung out with billionaires because I was a fundraiser, right? I've spent a lot of time around very rich people. And I'm going to tell you one thing that I know about rich people. They live in a bubble. They live in a movie version of their own lives. They don't actually, and I'm sorry. I'm sure people will argue with me and be like, "Oh no, there's rich people that are really no, there aren't. Even the nice ones. Even the nice ones. They live in a freaking bubble. They are the snowflakes. I mean, this is like the purge, okay? They're the ones who are like, "Oh, this is what we're getting to, the purge, frankly." But they really don't live in the real world. Because I've seen them get into the real world and they're very uncomfortable. Okay? Yeah, I've hung out with billionaires because I worked in Silicon Valley and I raised money in Silicon Valley. And so there were millionaires and billionaires aplenty. And my experience with these people and becoming friends with them, right? Like I developed some very close relationships with some folks because I was authentic in my job and I like people and that's the way I am. But so I got to know them on a pretty, some of them on a pretty, like their family and kind of like inside their lives a little tiny bit, not a lot, divorces and shit like that. Strife, marital strife, if you will. I got a lot of that. I got an earful of that. I'm a good listener. You're waiting to hear from your lawyers. Oh, babe. You know what? Hey, listen. Oh, never mind. I don't want to talk about personal stuff on here, but I might have gone through what some of you're going through, but I'm not sure about that. So I don't know. I don't want to give advice, but hang in there. It's really okay. Um, so my point is that they call me a Nazi for some reason. Oh, why am you calling me a Nazi? Why are you calling me a Nazi? I don't know. I don't understand. Well, you will. No, good morning, Lee. Undisclosed office location. Fantastic. Oh, butterflies. That's so cool. What a great community we have. Good community of people. Yeah, so yeah, he's not they don't think like normal people. I'm sorry. I know that sounds really weird, but they just don't. Even the nice ones. Even the nice ones. They are just not they're not nice. They're not nice. I mean, they're not like benevolent as you think they are. You sound like the fat caterpillar in Bug's Life. I feel like the fat caterpillar in Bug's Life. I have to lose some weight. Oh my god. I've been sitting for the whole winter. My winter weight is cray cray. Yeah, no, don't anyone tell. Don't tell anyone where Lee is. She's oh, the accent. Oh yeah, I can do a German accent, yeah. That's right. I forgot about that. Oh, I love that movie so much. Oh my god, I love Bug's Life so much. That's such a great movie. That one stands the test of time. I'll tell you right now. That's a movie that stands the test of time. Uh, fight me on that. All right, I have a couple of things to show you before we get into SCOTUS. Okay, first, hold on, don't say anything. Where's my watch list? I'm just teeing up a couple of videos. Be quiet, Fareed. Okay, this is actually not. I can tell now that the thing is not working the way I want it to. And And that means I have to fix the sound. Fix the sound. Hey, what? Settings. That's what I want. Settings. Where's my sound? Where's my sound? Oh, come on. All right, we're going to do it this way. All right, fine. That seems really weird. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Doodle-doodle-doo. That's what I want. Wait, what? Wait, what? Sorry. I want to check this, not do that. And everything is fine, I think. We'll find out. And then I also wanted to watch. I have 3 little tiny things, 3 little birds I want to show you. Doodle-doo, doodle-doo, doo-doo-doodle-doo. Boom. Oh, 3, 4.
Like that.
No, be
and
quiet.
My dad had told me that.
Be quiet. Be quiet, sir. Thank you. All right, we'll start with this. Okay, I'm going to start with a CNN piece, my favorite, Frederica Whitfield. This season, I mean. What? I started a little yard work this season. That's my hustle. Oh, that's so great. F. Scott Fitzgerald. Here we go. They possess and enjoy early, and it does something to them. Makes them soft where we are hard and cynical where we are trustful. This is good. They think deep in their hearts that they are better than we are because we had to discover the compensations and refuge of life for ourselves. Yeah, this is it. This is it. And I'm telling you, I've met and become friends with big rich people who married into money. So I've been friends with those people as well as the people who have inherited it. And the people who have been self-made. And I'm telling you right now, it happens to all of them. It happens to all of them. Once you get absurd wealth, your day-to-day changes. And you're not really interacting unless you choose to with the non-millionaire world. Do you see what I mean? Like it's such an insular place. And they become that. They change, their brains change. It becomes like self-preservation and all, like that kind of thing. So it's bad. I mean, I did not have a pause. I mean, I worked in nonprofit and fundraising, specifically a lot of fundraising for 22 years. 22 years of raising money. So I have met a lot of rich people in my life. Like they all get their toes done at the same place? Maybe. I don't know about that. Or people come to their house and do their toes. So I don't know. It's just, like that's why Elmo is ridiculous because he's like all the rich people that I've met, but now he has to be in the real world. And it's not easy. And not the real world, but he gets a little bit of pushback from the real world that he hasn't received before. Because the Chuds think he's like the fucking second coming. They think he's great, by the way. And really because he owns the lib. Yeah, they have their own style. They have people who come to their house. Yeah, exactly. Like they don't have to. I mean, they can go out and get their toes done. But I don't see them at the place. I see a lot of TV actors like second rate, like extras and stuff at the place I get my toes done. But, there's not the big wigs coming in because they don't want to be hassled either, right? Like they don't want to be like, I don't know. It's just, it's a thing. It's a brain change when you get a ton of money. I'm sorry. It just happens. I am kind of generalizing, but I don't know. I've met a lot of rich people in my life and even some really nice rich people, like really good-hearted people. Oh my God, of course he did. I bet Max. I bet Carl had to sign NDAs to go to the homes here. I mean, I would like an NDA if you came into my house because I don't want you to tell people I live in basically a flop house. I I don't want anyone to know why I have X in my house. I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding because my house is a mess, but it's neither here nor there. Why do they think Mellon owns the libs when we all laugh at him and deride him? See, here's the thing, Neil. This is such a good question. That is such a good question. Okay, that is such a good question. Paul J. I know they have toes done, but I think it's funny. I know, but it does keep your feet nice. I have great feet too, and they're one of my best features. So I have to take care of my feet because they're one of my best features. Anyway, I'm not going to show you now because the bottom of my feet are really, really dirty. A Hello Kitty purse, LOL, a Japanese cat statue. What? A Japanese cat Buddha statue. Provoking reaction equals triggered equals win. Yes. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Yeah, it really is. There's a lot, the devotion, I think, in large part to Trump and Elon and all this nonsense is because it bothers us so much. That is literally, yeah, exactly, Pep. It is literally why they love these guys so much and will accept almost anything from them, is because they feel like now they are better than other people, which is kind of insane. So, yeah, there's a lot of mind fucking that goes on with all these things, right? Jim, I'm in Baltimore today. I'm going to the Orioles opener, then walking to the Heritage Foundation Kevin Roberts protest. Jim, that's fantastic. Oh my God, that's so fun. You guys are where all this stuff is happening. Nothing happens out here. No, I'm just kidding. That's exciting. God damn it. I want to go protest them. I want to go with you, Jim. Sounds like so much fun. Giants won yesterday. Just saying. Just saying, San Francisco Giants won yesterday. So yeah, enjoy the game. I love baseball. I love watching baseball live. I actually love watching any sport live. I love football live. I love basketball. I love basketball live. Oh my God. Basketball live is so great. And I do love baseball. It's not logic, it's purely emotional. Yep, it's true. It's true. It is it's a nice day. Yay! Oh, that's so fun. Oh, I'm so happy for you, Jim. That's going to be fun. Excellent. 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 Well, let's see here. Let me pull up. Okay, let's pull up Frederica Whitfield. All right, this is about so if you didn't catch it this weekend, I do highly recommend, instead of Elmo's town hall, I recommend Victoria Spart's town hall. I recommend you watch that because that was absolutely amazing. And here's 10 minutes about town halls and just a little bit of trouble that was given to Victoria Spartz. You know, the Ukrainian representative who actually hates Ukraine and loves Russia. You know that one. Little Russian simp. Yeah, that one. Okay, here she is.
Now, voters have been giving lawmakers an earful at town halls across the country. On top of President Trump's deep cuts to government agencies, frustrations are also mounting over the leaked group chat with top White House officials and national security officials about the U.S. military strikes in Yemen. Here's how Republican Congresswoman Victoria Spartz responded to her constituents' questions of accountability in Westfield on Friday.
We would demand the immediate resignation of Pete Hegseth, Michael Waltz, and the rest of the group chat.
I love these Indianans. Go Indiana. Fantastic restaurants.
So let me just address, no, I will not demand their resignation.
Congresswoman Spartz held another town hall yesterday. Ashton Hackman from CNN affiliate WTHR spoke with voters in Muncie, Indiana, eager to share their concerns.
Tax the rich! Tax the rich! Tax the rich! It was confrontational from the start. Nearly 100 people filling the room in Muncie City Hall, pressing Congresswoman
How'd this
Sparks for
bitch
answers
win?
on issues of government spending, healthcare, and DOGE cuts from President Trump and Elon Musk.
We need to take into consideration, and then we need to decide as the Congress. Do we want to actually
In the Congress. I'm sorry, I'm making fun of her voice. It's ridiculous.
Answers at many times masked by uproars from the crowd.
Any opportunity that our representatives give us to be involved in their decision-making process, it's incredibly important to step up and do that.
Go
I'm
Indiana!
I'm always going to listen.
I love you.
Be a part of the solution.
Chelsea McDonnell is one of those constituents
Hoosiers,
asking
right? They're
sharing
Hoosiers,
how
right?
Cuts at the federal level impact lives on a local level.
I write grants for multiple organizations, including the Soup Kitchen, and we're going
love
without
you.
answers about things like our FEMA grants, and it's very concerning.
Grant
for us,
writers
because
for
we
the
really
win.
depend on that to keep people alive.
But it wasn't just those speaking out against Congresswoman Sparks. Many supporters were there to ask questions too.
I think more of our representatives do need to show up and talk to their constituents.
Randall McAllister went to both of the town halls. He said the current political climate makes it difficult to find middle ground.
We got to chill out and just listen to each other, even if we don't agree.
Okay.
At least have that conversation instead of all.
Okay, listen, I get this all the time. I get this all the time. Why can't you have a conversation? Why can't you have a conversation? Bitch, I had a conversation with you in 2016. If you, at this point, do not recognize that this is a hostile takeover of our government, you are the problem. I'm not unifying with you. I will compromise with you on policy things, but you actually don't know what policies you want to argue about. So it's a non-starter for me when people like this or others are like, oh, why are you so mean? Why are you so that? Well, guess what? You made me this way. You made me angry. Because you're making the wrong choices about people. I'm not talking about the policy, like little policy whatevers. We've done that before. We've lived through Bush administrations. We've lived through Reagan. We've lived through Nixon. We understand. But I'm telling you right now, this is not a moment where that is what the conversation is. The conversation is about human rights versus not human rights. I don't know what compromise is, but it's not, oh, we just need to talk about it. No, you, sir, need to grow a pair of balls, and you need, some Greek guy, and you, that's a good one. And you need to accept, I'm sorry, this is going to be the hard truth. I mean, it's down to this, folks. It's either human rights or it's not. That's the argument. We can argue other things, but it is either human rights or it's not. And it is not right to arrest a woman who's had a miscarriage. Bye, Lee. I love you. I love you. Have a great day. I'll see you later. It is not, there's no like, oh, well, maybe we could have some people imprisoned in El Salvador. No. Okay. No, that's not what we do. And we do the hard stuff, or at least we're supposed to. So if the country is going to be this thing, then they should do the hard stuff, which means you figure out immigration, which means you figure out reparations, which means you figure out access to healthcare. Those are the hard questions that as a country we ask ourselves in order to be a more perfect union. This is not how we get to a more perfect union. You don't destroy everything, throw the baby out with the bathwater, let some ridiculous South African Nazi white supremacist come in who nobody has elected. Nobody had a say in him coming in. That's not governance.
All the anger build up. Just sit down, relax.
You're the one
and
with the
actually have a
anger,
conversation.
bitch.
Our thanks to Ashton
Oh my
Hackman from our
God.
CNN affiliate WTHR. All right, here with us now is the Congresswoman at the center of those town hall discussions, Republican Representative Victoria Spartz of Indiana. Congresswoman,
What is
welcome.
that blouse
Thank you so much
and
for being with
vest
us.
combo? Come on now.
Thank you
You're
for
on
having me,
TV for
Frederica.
fuck's
All
sake,
right,
you
so
stupid
people in the
bitch.
audience in the Westfield town hall were quite upset, challenging you, among other things, on whether Defense Secretary Hegseth should be fired or removed. You said no to that. So what are among the other things that you told voters that you are considering as it pertains to DOJ activity, including firings and department dismantling?
Well, unfortunately, Frederica, these town halls, which should be part of the process for us to communicate with our constituents and have dialogue, became really an organized ambush by Democrats and a lot of radical groups to push a false narrative that Republicans are doing something wrong. And that sprayed lies. So I thought, regardless what really a lot of my colleagues understand, is becoming a safety situation because we have a very violent.
No,
group
it's I
operating
found a
high
dress barn
chaos,
and I
which
bought a
really puts
shirt.
safety of our
That's
staff
what it
and
is.
other constituents, police at stake, decided not to do it. I thought we still need to do it because we shouldn't be silenced and we need to talk about the issues that are important for the American people.
You're not
because we try to
silenced. You're a
legislate
fucking
lot of
congressperson.
good
You've
issues
got
and
a
that will
microphone
benefit
anytime you want it.
Americans. So we did that.
Stop.
But unfortunately, the acting was very violent. And I'll tell you about the questions relating to Pete Huck that is kind of hypocritical that, that a lot of people are so fighting for the same due process for people here illegally, which realistically we can do only in a limited way. They don't feel that actually people like Pete Hegseth should have a due process before we're going to do any, demand resignations and take them out of their position.
Due process for a resignation?
If some
That's not how it
innocent
works.
mistakes happen, we always have a room for
Mistakes
improvement.
happen?
But I think the entire
Really?
more
Yeah,
due
she's a
process,
Vatnik.
not a mob rule, than illegals in our country that violated law and working with cartels and create dangers in the country.
So are you just
cartels, a danger in the country.
So are you disputing that a number of the people that are showing up at your town halls are legitimate constituents? I mean, I would think that
This is what they're
going to
do now.
You probably recognize a lot
Loose
of your
lips, own
voters
lips.
at many of these town halls. And do you feel that that was representative of your district and the sentiments that people were conveying to you?
Those were actors.
No, I'm actually a lot in my district. Had a lot of meetings beyond town halls.
Oh,
this is organized
I had
by
the
Democrats.
nice
They do a lot of
meetings.
social media posts. A lot of them are standing and very radical.
People
groups in
were
my
very
district were
nice to
standing
me
all day to make
personally.
sure that they can get in first, because we even expanded capacity for the first town hall. It still was, normal if we don't have so many people, because ultimately that's agenda. Organized group of people. So they wanted to make sure they get
She
in.
did
And,
say it.
they were professional
Organized group of
protesters,
people.
agitators. They do it in other places.
Oh,
That they get
stop.
in first, that they can flood the room.
Stop.
Legitimate constituents couldn't even
These
come.
are
So some of them,
legitimate
a lot of them
constituents.
probably are constituents. We have a very diverse district, but they represent extreme left, not represent really the Indiana.
Oh, you only got the
district, because
leftists in there?
Majority of people in my
What?
district don't want violence. They don't want to spit on my stuff and scream for 2 hours, and they want to have a conversation. That's not a majority of Americans, and truly, I don't think majority of Americans want violence.
It's
It
just
didn't- It didn't
me.
look like from the lot
I
of
was
videotapes I
nice.
saw that there was violence, but
There's not
people
violence.
Certainly were
Thank
very
you, Frederica.
emotional. And of some of the comments I was able to hear, there were a lot of sentiments about Elon Musk, who were challenging the powers of Elon Musk. And they want to hear from you. And I wonder what you've been telling people
Soros
who
paid
are
for it.
asking you
Such
and other members of
snowflake.
Congress. When they say they didn't elect Elon Musk, they are concerned that he has overstepped his bounds. And even some judges have said that he has overstepped his bounds
Some
in some of
judges?
the firings.
Almost
what
every
do you say
judge.
to
In fact, every
people who
judge.
showed
Wait a
up
minute.
at your town hall who are expressing that? What are
Wait a
you saying
minute.
to them? Do you think
Every
Musk
judge
has gone
said
too
it.
far?
No, actually, Musk has been very helpful.
Oh, very helpful.
In order to better the government, that
Very
the Congress can look
helpful.
and decide what actions we need to put into the law in our appropriation reconciliation.
They're doing it, by the way.
Because as
They're
an
doing
auditor,
it.
someone who's
They're
been
doing it
talking
today.
about for years, and actually not just me, Government Accountability Office was talking how terrible and broken government. We don't have simple controls. We don't know where the money are going.
No, we do know where the
Departments are
money is
not
going.
auditable.
That's
We have a lot of
bullshit.
fraud, and we do nothing
That's
about it.
bullshit.
No one is doing anything. At least
That's
he brings more
bullshit.
transparency where American people can see
Frederica,
now.
that's
So
bullshit.
we make sure that we get rid of fraud and save these programs to
Stop.
for the people.
Stop her.
For the people
That's
that
a
belong
lot.
these programs
Oh my
to, that we
God. I
have
can't
enough
do this
money and we don't
anymore. Why am
bankrupt.
I doing
And
this? Why do I even
just add
bother?
to your other point, actually, my Muncie town hall was much more brutal in the way that they were much more organized, protested, and were actually very brutal to my staff and some of the Trump supporters. And it was much.
Oh my
much,
God.
it was very
I'm
serious
done.
and very concerning for the police.
So,
I'm very
Congresswoman,
concerned
what
for the
are actions?
police.
You said, it's about the actions of the members of Congress. Members of Congress, helped craft law, legislation. You have the purse strings. What are the conversations among members of Congress about how you are going to either keep in check the president or Elon Musk and Doge when it's Congress who should control the purse strings, and when you have the president
What about
who says
impoundment?
he wants to dismantle the Department of Education or restrict funding to the Smithsonian, which is congressionally approved. What is the plan of action among members of Congress, regardless of party?
Well, I think, unfortunately, just go to your point, 85% of spending Congress doesn't even look at it for decades
Oh
now.
my
So until we
God.
reform our processes, which really hard to do on a partisan
That's a feeling.
basis. It needs to be a bipartisan agreement, which very
That's a feeling.
difficult
I know.
to
Really?
achieve.
Butterflies, I have too.
Unfortunately, we tried for a few years to try to do fiscal commission and couldn't get through it. And even though introduced it in both chambers and only very few people in Congress want to govern, that's a problem.
Exactly.
But now it's a lot of grandstanding for Democrats, so I don't see it very realistic, but we'll still try.
Okay, well, that is ridiculous. Let's see. Let me just make sure. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, why is it so low? Hold on.
Mr. Rossbach.
I'll fix it.
Mr. Chief Justice, and may it please the court. This case is not complicated. The Wisconsin Supreme Court got it wrong when it interpreted a state law religious exemption to favor what it called typical religious activity, and when it held that helping the poor can't be religious because secular people help law religious exemption. To resolve this case, what it called this court need do nothing more activity than say that the Constitution doesn't allow courts to do that.
Low too.
That conclusion breaks no new doctrinal ground, and most courts have no difficulty applying religious exemptions constitutionally. The problem here is that Wisconsin draws distinctions along theological lines, something that this court has repeatedly here is that Wisconsin compares its rule to the ministerial exception, but Wisconsin
It is literally that low on every fucking
in the ministerial exception
replay.
context. No court would hold that clergy who preach on Saturday are not ministers because preaching on Sunday is more typical. Nor would any court hold that a religious leader who helps the poor isn't a minister because secular leaders help the poor too. By that measure, Mother Teresa might not qualify.
There we go.
In short, there is nothing wrong with the statutory text here or with how most legislatures and courts deal with religious accommodations. The problem is how the Wisconsin Supreme Court applied the religious
A group
purposes
affiliated with a
exemption. I welcome the
church
court's questions.
gets the tax benefit?
Impose any limits on exemptions for religious organizations?
Absolutely, Your Honor. We're asking only here that that they not be discriminate along theological lines. So we're not saying that if you have a religious motivation, you get a religious exemption no matter what the issue is. What we're saying is once you have an exemption in place, that then you have to, the Constitution requires you to apply it even-handedly.
Well, wouldn't that be problematic if various religious groups set themselves up differently? Some incorporate.
I'll grab the background for this.
Some are, I mean, you make a point that you are required canonically to not to have a different organization from the diocese itself. Some organizations or religious organizations may not have that requirement. So can the state make any distinctions between different organizations, religious organizations?
I think that they can. I do think that there are constitutional guardrails to that. I don't think this case presents those because This is a case about an existing religious exemption and whether that is applied even-handedly or selectively. And in our view, both the Larson case and the Lukumi case say that selective enforcement or application of a religious exemption is a problem. Larson, in particular, says that...
well, maybe the same kind of question that Justice Thomas raised, but even within this given religious exemption...
Okay, there's the background on this case.
That there can be absolutely no distinctions. In other words, that any group that comes in and says, we are a religious group doing religious activities for religious purposes, qualifies sort of no matter what, that there's no looking behind that at all.
No, I think, for example, this particular exemption is also, there's a separate requirement which isn't disputed among the parties about whether Catholic Charities is controlled by a church. So that's sort of another condition precedent to getting this exemption. And we don't see a problem with that particular kind of limitation. So I think, I want to be very clear, we're not here to say, limitless exemptions. What we're saying is that...
Totally, but I think what Justice Thomas's questions, my questions are just, is there a line someplace, even if you fall on a side of the line that you want to fall on?
Right. I think once you're inside the exemption, there's obviously a requirement that it be sincere. And I think also there's a requirement that it be, say, religious, not philosophical. But other than that, I do think that there has to, at that point, you probably do need to start treating the different groups equally.
What if you have a religion that thinks it's a sin to eat meat, and they, to promote the eating of non-meat dinners, they open a restaurant, but it's only vegetables and non-meat. Do they have a claim to be exempt from state taxes, food taxes, everything else? Because that's it's a sincerely held belief, and it's important to them, and you're going to be taxing them. You're going to be taxing the exercise of their beliefs.
So I think it depends on whether the statute that's imposing the tax says this applies to meat-eating people or not to meat-eating people. That's
it just
what we have.
It applies across the board, and they claim an exemption from it because this is a part of their religious exercise.
I don't think that's. I don't think that would be. They would necessarily have a claim there, because it's not something where the religious organization is being discriminated against along theological lines. That is, there's a rule across the board. Now, I do think, with respect to the claims that we've made in this particular case, now, of course, let's say it's like Lukumi, where very similar issues came up with respect to ritual slaughter by Santeria priests, and the court found, no, you don't actually get to make these you don't get to gerrymander it so that only certain groups are not allowed to.
The news ticker is back.
And in Lukumi, of course, there was both secular allowed slaughter, but also religious. So there was a carve out for kosher slaughter as well as slaughter for other reasons in Lukumi. So that's what we're talking about with the selectivity in this case.
So can I just be clear on your argument, because I'm just wanting to understand it. It sounds like you are saying that to the extent the state has chosen to exempt religious groups, the line that they are drawing divides Catholic charities, which don't perform certain quote-unquote typical religious activities with respect to their charity, and other kinds of religions which may evangelize, proselytize, or whatever. Is that so? It's the discrimination between Catholic charities and charities run by other kinds of churches that you are focused on.
That's right, because this is just within a religious exemption that already exists, and they're disfavoring Catholic charities because they serve non-Catholics, because they hire non-Catholics, and because they don't proselytize.
Yeah. So let me just ask you, I mean, I totally see that, and I do think that it raises at least the neutrality problem that you're talking about. I'm wondering if the exemption was actually designed to work that way, and whether Wisconsin may be at least I mean, obviously they have the right to say whatever they want about their state statute, but to the extent that they're following the federal law, I wonder whether for religious purposes isn't really about the motivation, that instead it is about the kinds of activities that the organization undertakes. And so when we look, for example, at the legislative history of the federal provision, they're very clear in terms of making the line be between a college devoted to preparing students for the ministry, novitiate, which I understand is sort of a place for people, nuns and the like, to decide whether or not they're meant for the faith, or a house, quote, a house of study training candidates to become members of religious orders. They put that on one side of the line, Congress does. And then it says, on the other hand, a church-related, separately incorporated charitable organization, such as an orphanage or home for the aged, would not be considered. So it seems to me that the line, at least in the federal statute, is not between charitable organizations that proselytize versus charitable organizations that don't. Instead, it's all charitable organizations on one side that are run by the church, and organizations run by the church that are like training programs for priests, that are like religious in that way. Now, for you, that'd be a little unfortunate because it would take you outside of the exemption, but I'm just trying to understand whether for religious purposes is really about the motivation, or are they trying to get at those organizations that are inculcating or training religious doctrine?
So I think that operated primarily for religious purposes, the best reading of that is to say, you know, are you the, you know, is it the meat-free restaurant that's just sort of run out of the temple basement, or is it sort of a separate business? So there's a separate part of the Internal Revenue Code, Section 513 of the Internal Revenue Code, that talks about unrelated business income. And there's a carve-out for all charitable organizations if they have a sort of separate thing. I think that the operated primarily for religious purposes means that you're not operated, you know, you're not operated outside of that. You're not operated as a sort of for-profit business that's owned by a church, of which there are many around the country. Those entities don't get the exemption, even if they are controlled by a church, because remember, there is also that other condition that it be controlled, that the entities that enjoy this exemption are controlled by a church.
Could you focus on Justice Jackson's question? Is there a difference in your mind, and Justice Jackson, you can correct me, is there a difference in your mind between this law and the IRS law that she identified?
Sure.
And what is that difference? I think that's what she was getting at. She thinks the two laws might be the same. Are you seeing a difference? And if you are, how do you articulate it?
Well, I think that the way that, so the laws that she's talking about is the FUTA, which we would say that language is not, that text is not really problematic there, but the way that the Wisconsin Supreme Court interpreted it here to have that list.
Yes, I see that language.
Right.
She was talking about the laws in the IRS.
No, I was talking about the FUT. Yes, but what I'm really kind of focused on is the example in the legislative history that puts church-run charitable organizations like an orphanage or a home for the aged outside of the exemption. And that troubles me because it seems as though you're saying that should be in, and it shouldn't be distinguished between orphanages that proselytize versus orphanages that don't. And I guess I'm just wondering whether any orphanages are in, given the way this statute is written.
Yeah, I don't think that that's the right reading of it. I mean, to the extent that, you know, legislative history does control the way that you interpret the text, I would say that you would really need to have a sort of constitutional avoidance approach to it. I don't think that Larson, for example, says that you need to have a broad reading of statutory religious exemptions, and so I think you would need to have constitutionally read FUTA to be pretty broad and cover things like orphanages. You know, let's say Catholic Charities owned an orphanage. They don't, but they also—
You're saying the Constitution requires an exception here?
No, I'm saying that where it is excluding, where it's excluding it on the basis of, religious exercise or theological lines, then that would be a problem. Here, I think the difference is that you're trying to alleviate. Most of these exemptions, you're trying to alleviate burdens on religious exercise. And this court has repeatedly said, in cases like Amos and Cutter, that does not constitute discrimination.
Counsel, can I ask you
Yes.
a question about the church autonomy doctrine? It seems to me that there's a difference between telling a church what to do or interfering in its internal affairs and incentivizing the church to do certain things. Do you see a distinction between those things?
Well, I think that there is a distinction between the two things, but I think this court has said, for example, in the Kedroff case, that it's control or manipulation. So that the incentivization part of it, I think, would also be covered to the extent that, the power to tax, the power to destroy, or things like that. I think it really matters what the incentives are.
Okay, well, you talk about the organizational choices that the Catholic Church has made in treating Catholic Charities as a distinct corporation, a distinct entity from the diocese itself. Well, a nonprofit corporation is distinct from a for-profit corporation. The Chief Justice asked you about a restaurant, that's an outreach that serves vegetables. Well, what about a for-profit versus a not-for-profit? What if a church believes that raising money, either for the benefit of members or to give away or whatever, is essential to its religious mission and wants to be a for-profit organization? Would it violate the church autonomy doctrine for an exemption to be offered only to nonprofits?
I think that's. I don't think so, Your Honor. I think that the difference here is that we've got different parts of the same church body that are either exempt or not exempt. So we have a sort of patchwork where the parent, so to speak, the Diocese of Superior is exempt. Then one of the sub-entities of Catholic Charities, which is sort of 2 layers down, is also exempt.
But for purposes of the church autonomy doctrine, I guess you were focused on the organizational structure of the Catholic Church and the diocese and its outreaches. And I'm wondering why your theory of the church autonomy doctrine and how it applies here would not extend pretty broadly.
I think you can limit it to situations where it's part of the long-term governance, and there's a sort of discrimination among different kinds of governance. This is sort of explicated in the
But what about my for-profit, not-profit example?
I guess I just don't. Maybe I'm misunderstanding the question, but I'm not seeing how that is the same as the church governance itself and how the different organizations are set up.
Okay, let me ask you another question. One of the problems here is figuring out what the line is. If a legislature wants to, like Justice Jackson's saying, exempt certain kinds of religious activities but not others. And you point out that it's excessive entanglement, in your view, to try to distinguish between, to get involved in the enterprise of figuring out what you're up to.
All right, we've got a little microphone issue, so I apologize for that. But let me tell you what I know about this case. Hold on, let me put my weed down, fix my hair. All right, let me tell you what I know. Because the bottom line is this. The Wisconsin Supreme Court concluded that the group that worked for Catholic Charities was not operated primarily for religious purposes. Although its motivations are primarily religious, the state Supreme Court acknowledged its activities are not. It does not, quote, attempt to imbue people who participate in its programs with the Catholic faith, nor supply any religious materials to program participants or employees. Indeed, it added, the group both employs and offers its services to people of all faiths. And the groups at question here, in 2016, Catholic Charities in Wisconsin sought an exemption from Wisconsin from having to pay the Wisconsin unemployment tax for its employees, arguing that they fall within a provision of the statute that carves out from the definition of employment anyone who works for an organization operated primarily for religious purposes. These organizations, the chapter at the center of the case is Catholic Charities for the Diocese of Superior in Wisconsin in the northwestern part of the state. Its mission is to, quote, carry on the redeeming work of our Lord by reflecting gospel values and the moral teaching of the church. 4 separate groups operating under the Catholic Charities umbrella in the diocese are also involved in the case. Each primarily provides social services to people with disabilities. So it's 4 different organizations that the Wisconsin State Supreme Court said you are not exempt from payroll tax because you're not imbuing people with the Catholic faith. Basically, that these groups are working to service all people with disabilities in their community and not specifically imbuing the Catholic faith, if that makes sense. So that's what I get as the gist of this case. So thank you. Thank you for coming. Now I have to put my earphones back on so I can hear the case. I mean, you can have all the autonomy doctrine you want as long as you pay taxes and follow our laws. Right. Exactly. Well, and it's interesting because I don't think that as a nonprofit, I don't think we were exempt from unemployment tax. We were exempt from sales tax, but not from unemployment tax. We had to pay all the payroll taxes. So maybe I just don't understand how it might work in other states, but I'm not familiar with that type of setup. But that's where we're at.
What about the ministerial exemption itself? It requires that kind of distinguishing. I mean, is it excessive entanglement for a court to figure out who is a minister?
No, not at all. I think the difference is the way that the Wisconsin Supreme Court decided this case and said, if you're a minister, if you're doing something with one kind of theological set of presuppositions, you get better treatment, you're favored, and if you're not, then you are disfavored. And I think if you have something that's across the board, you're just looking at, is this religious, is this not religious? That's the kind of thing that courts decide every day. They decide all the time whether a particular activity is religious or a particular person is acting on religious bounds. So I want to be very clear, we're not saying there's any problem with trying to decide if something's religious or not. What we're saying is that there are limits on what you can do within that question, and one of the things that you can't do is discriminate along theological lines.
Thank you, counsel. Justice Thomas, anything further? Justice Alito?
When you say that Catholic Charities does not proselytize, are you using that term in the ordinary sense, or are you using it as a term of art?
I would say it's used as a term of art for the Catholic Church, that you don't proselytize.
And what does it mean? What does that term of art mean?
Well, what it means in the Catholic Church is that you're, for example, saying, here's your food, but if you want the food, you have to come to Mass, or I need you to come pray with me, or something like that, or you need to convert at the sort of most extreme end of that.
But it doesn't mean that Catholic Charities can't evangelize. Is that right?
That's right. In Catholic teaching, there's a distinction between evangelization and proselytization. Evangelization is okay. Proselytization is not okay.
And what is the difference?
The difference is the sort of almost coercive effect, or the sort of using it to influence people and kind of take advantage of them, exploit them, and that's proselytization. Evangelization is really the idea of sharing one's faith, sharing the Catholic faith with someone else to help them understand what someone believes.
It doesn't mean that Catholic Charities could not say to participants in services, if you would like to pray, here's an opportunity. If you would like to go to Mass, here's an opportunity. If you would like some religious reading, here is something that we have available.
So within the Catholic Church, that's not a problem. Now, I think the record in this case...
Well, I don't want to get into a theological discussion, but I'm asking these questions because if you're making a religious discrimination claim, you've got to have a comparator. So what's your best comparator with this in mind?
Comparator to, sorry, I won't.
Well, you're saying here that the Wisconsin Supreme Court is discriminating against
Catholic charities, it would treat other religious charities differently, right?
Yes.
So what is your best comparator of a religious charity that would be treated favorably by the Wisconsin Supreme Court?
Well, let's say you had I don't want to pick on any particular denomination, but let's say you had a Baptist church that said, we're going to, give you food, but we would like, before that, we would like you to attend this church service. Or said, well, another group might say, we're only going to serve our particular group. Now, I think it's really important that it has to go both ways. That is, I don't think that Wisconsin should discriminate against people that do proselytize either. The point is that they made the distinction along that theological line that has nothing to do with that. So that to me is the difference.
And the decision to organize Catholic Charities as a nonprofit corporation was done for religious reasons and not for practical reasons?
Well, I guess I would say that the two kind of coincide. That is, how can you be a more effective mission? And definitely you can be a more effective mission if you're both incorporated and are organized as nonprofit. But there's not a teaching of the Catholic Church that says that you must or always and everywhere organize as a nonprofit.
Thank you.
Justice Sotomayor?
Two questions. One, the government asks us to reverse, not on a constitutional ground, but on the Wisconsin court's misinterpretation of its own statute. Do you have a position on that? And then number two, seems to me that all your arguments, both on autonomy and entanglement, all come down to the discrimination claim. But if Larson and City of Hialeah, that doesn't end the inquiry, meaning you might, if a state discriminates, it might be entitled to, and you have to apply strict scrutiny. In those two cases, we affirm because there was evidence of invidious discrimination. There's no evidence of that here. So what do we do?
That should fix the echo.
Okay.
If we find that there's discrimination, and what guidance do we give? So answer the first and then the second.
Sure, yes, and I apologize if I hope I get all the subparts there. On the Solicitor General's argument, I think
I'm sorry,
we obviously will take a win on any basis. We're not going to reject that. But it doesn't seem apparent from the face of the opinion below that they were feeling bound by the federal law in this case, and that really is the standard under
how is that?
the
Is that better?
tribes and the other ones. I guess the second issue that we see is that this could just result in sort of a do-over where it goes back down to the
Did you not hear me?
Wisconsin Supreme
Oh my
Court.
God.
Wisconsin Supreme Court says, okay, we're eliminating all mention of the federal law. We're just interpreting Wisconsin law here, and we're back here in a couple of years. Obviously, my clients wouldn't like that, but also I don't think that's.
Why don't you go on to the second question?
Okay, so then the second question I would say is just that on strict scrutiny, I think it's just very hard for, I don't think you have to remand for that. I don't think that they put on much of a strict scrutiny case. The only interest that they put forward below was whether it, broad access to getting unemployment compensation, unemployment benefits. And there's so many different exceptions to that, just like in Lukumi, just like in Larson. And I think that there's also no risk to the fisc of Wisconsin because only 0.6%, as put in one of the bottom side amicus briefs, of workers are with religious organizations. So it's just that they don't have the interest, and they're very under-inclusive and have lots of exceptions, and that defeats strict scrutiny.
I agree with you, but what do we do with, it is a compelling state interest not to be entangled in a church. So that
Now I'm
itself
back.
is a compelling state
My
interest.
mic came back. I don't know why.
Do we say it fails strict scrutiny?
I'm so
not
sorry.
on the interest prong, but on the narrow tailoring prong? Is that, you said there's so many exceptions, et cetera, so it sounds more like a narrow tailoring.
I think
I'm still not sure that solved the problem,
on
but
that basis. And this court
it might
has
not
done
have
that
solved
in
the
many
issue.
religion cases where it said we're just going to skip over the compelling interest part and just.
I know
go
why
straight
you
to the
couldn't
narrow
hear me.
tailoring.
I hate PCs. Can I
Justice
just tell
Kagan?
you that?
Mr. Resbeck, I had understood your autonomy argument as
PCs are
different
so
from
stupid.
your discrimination argument. In other words, that your autonomy argument is essentially that the way this statute, as understood by the Wisconsin Supreme Court, works is it puts pressure on the church to organize its charitable activities at the diocese level rather than the way
Well,
it's
she's
done
not
now,
Catholic.
'cause at the diocese level, they surely would be entitled to the exemption. So it's not the most obvious thing that stands out about what the Wisconsin court has done here, and I'm just wondering why you led with that argument. I mean, why you think it's your strongest one, or why I take it if you lead with it, that's the one you most want us to rule on. Maybe I'm wrong about that. If I'm right, why?
So I don't think that we wrote the brief saying that all three that they're ranking it that way. So I definitely I think all three arguments are valid. You can rule on one, you can rule on two. I'd be very surprised if you ruled on all three, but we were not meaning to rank them by the order that we put them in the brief.
Okay, why do you think that that would be a good choice?
Well, I think in some ways the church autonomy argument would be sort of a very simple thing to just say, look, this is a single church body, and they're all controlled by a single bishop. It doesn't make any sense to try to force them to reorganize, and it's sort of senseless to say that both the sort of top organization and one of the two ranks down sub-entities are exempt while excluding everybody else. So that it would be a kind of very simple decision, and I think one that you could limit to this particular context. But that's really what the argument would be with respect to church autonomy.
Thank you.
Justice Gorsuch?
Mr. Rossbach, I guess I have a similar question to Justice Kagan. I would have thought the simplest argument of the three you chose was the discrimination argument. On the face of the decision below, the court distinguished between religions that proselytize and those that don't, and between those who serve co-religionists and those who serve others as well. Why isn't that the simplest basis on which to rule?
Oh, sorry if I misspoke when I was having the colloquy with Justice Kagan. I meant to say it's a relatively simple kind of decision, but I don't think it's the simplest. I do think the simplest is probably the discrimination argument, and the court can just hold that the Wisconsin Supreme Court's interpretation of the religious exemption violated Larson and Lukumi by discriminating along religious lines, and I think that would be enough to decide the case.
That would break no new ground in our case law.
Correct.
And then when it comes to the compelling interest, what compelling interest might a state have in distinguishing between religions on that ground?
I do think it would be difficult. I think this court had a footnote in Trinity Lutheran, I may be getting that wrong, that referred to McDaniel against Patey, an earlier case that talked about the fact that there may not be a strict scrutiny defense to sort of a pure discrimination among religions.
Right, and is it further complicated by the fact, an effort to survive a compelling interest, complicated by the fact that the Catholic Charities apparently has an unemployment benefit system that is comparable to the state's?
That's exactly right. We think actually for the workers at Catholic Charities, it'll be better for them to be on the church plan. Certainly they get their benefits much more quickly from the church than they do from the state, unemployment benefits. But also it enables us to show solidarity with our other dioceses in the state.
Thank you.
Justice Kavanaugh?
Wasn't quite sure of your answer to Justice Jackson. If Catholic Charities ran an orphanage or a home for the aged, what result?
I think it would be treated like their current ministries, like a housing ministry or other things. So I think that language in the legislative history.
Oh my God, I have no idea what just happened. Holy shit. Okay, hold on. I'm so sorry. Whoa. This computer is really fucking with me this morning. You want some feedback on the feedback? Holy shit. What's wrong, everybody? Okay, that looks normal. Okay, that looks normal. Oh my God. What is wrong with everybody here? Okay. Choose a device. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm not doing anything. I am so sorry. Let me see if I can get it back to normal. Hold on. Okay. Okay, something's not right. Okay. It plays normally when I don't know what I just did. What did I just do? Uh-oh. What did I do, everybody? What is that to? Oh, that's to that. Okay, and that's to that. And that's to that. And that. Okay, hold on. Hold on. You guys, this is crazy. Oh my God. I don't know why it won't do it. Well, it keeps skipping. Okay, well, guess what? We're kind of done watching that because Mama needs to go to the workshop and see what the fuck is going on with her sound. Holy shit. It's feedback? Oh, well then why is it feedbacking? That's what I don't understand. Everything's what did I do? What did I touch? What did you touch? Lolo, what did you touch? What are you touching? What the fuck did I do? Oops. Oh no, that's not it. Sound. Everything looks normal. This is what I don't understand, but maybe I did this wrong. All right, I just want to test it. Hold on. I just want to test it. Oh, now I can't hear it at all. Okay. Fine. Sorry. I know you guys are like always the laboratory. You're in the laboratory. Okay, that's desktop audio and that is playing through the stereo. Okay. And then if I do this, it doesn't play. Wow. Okay. Well, here we go. The sound is like, woo, bye. I'm not output going into input somehow. Oh, maybe that's it. That might be it. Where to play sound? I want to play it into the stereo of that. And my microphone. Oh, maybe that's the problem. Although I thought it was always that. Hold on. Okay. Okay, well, we'll figure that out. Oh, hi, gal. Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bong, bong, bing, bong, bong, bong. That's right. It's a new song. Bing, bong, 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 bing, bong, bong, bong. Oh, no problem. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Well, this the replay portion of Wake and Bake is not going to happen until Lolo gets her fucking shit together and fixes her sound. So be prepared for a test session later on. I'll do a live later on just to test it. Damn it. And we'll have space tonight. But I do have, oh man, I had some clips. Oh, it was just so good. It was so good. It was gonna be so wonderful until she touched a button. Why did she touch the buttons? Why did you touch all the buttons? You stupid idiot. Why did you touch all the No, it's all the feeds. Last week's space was recorded. It was a good one too, I think. Was it a good one? Bye, Lolo and Chatter. Save the clips. Oh, I'm definitely going to save the clips. No, and I actually have some stuff to read. So I'm not going away yet. I do have some things I'd like to read to you. Anyway. Might need to do a later space if possible for everyone. My guy is out of town and I've got bedtime duties. Of course. Let me know what you want to do, gal. If you want to like suspend this week, we can also take a week off. It's no problem. Or we can do it later. Whatever works. I know for Iggy that's a little later. You're sick? All right, you go to bed. You know what? We're not going to have a space this week. Everybody needs to regroup. So we're going to not space. We're not going to space. No space this week. Spaceless. Listen to last week's. No, I'm just kidding. I yell at one eye. I think I yell at one eye, if I remember correctly. No, I don't think we're going to do a space at all. I'm good to space just later than usual. Oh, okay. Well, so do you want to do 6 for me, 7 for you? What was that? What time was last week's? Yeah, last week's was good. Oh, yeah. So do you want to do it like 6 p.m. for me, 7 p.m. for you? If you want to do that, I'll do it. I'll set it up. You let me know. I'll talk to you later. Is 8-ish. Oh, all right. You want to do late. Okay, I'm down, girl. I'm down. I yell at one eye is not a selling point for me. Well, okay, fine. I don't know. I was particularly proud on Leon Tariffs. Wow. Okay. Well, feedback is everything. No, I'm not kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's just good. Yeah, I'll let you know, Jane. I'll post a thing once I get it all settled. I think it'll be a little later than that, actually. All right, we'll work it out. You can always start. That's true. I can start. That actually works. Whatever. Yeah, we'll check up in the afternoon. But I do have. Okay. I have a couple of stories to read. Let's see, which one do I want? Where's that one? Is that yesterday? No, 3 days ago. All right, let me show you this. Oops. Oh, I had a Fareed Zakaria. I had all this stuff. I had all this great stuff. All right, here we go. This is what I wanted to read to you. That's not it. Oh, wait, it's just websites. Yeah. Yes, I think Lee had a little bit on tariffs. We'll see if she can also give us an update tonight. I know this week is probably ridiculously. Yeah, Fareed Zakaria, he had an expert on to discuss what would happen if Trump imposes the sweeping tariffs on April 2nd that he intends to impose on every country, by the way. So they've said. I don't know if they actually know every country, but whatever. And yeah, so he had an expert that was on. I don't really care about Fareed Zakaria. I think he's an idiot and whatever. But he did have what is it? Former U.S. Trade Representative and current Council on Foreign Relations President Michael Froman. And I wanted to hear what he has to say. I'll fix it, and maybe I'll go live again this afternoon. You don't even know. Iggy, I'm so sorry you don't feel well. I'm sorry. I love you so much. You should go night-night now. If you can, take a nap. Naps are great. Sleep heals. I believe that. Don't you believe that? I believe sleep really heals. Okay. Here we go. This was some good news, kind of, sort of, maybe. A federal judge agreed on last Friday to block the Trump administration from dismantling the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, an agency that was targeted for mass firings before the court's intervention. U.S. District Judge Amy Berman Jackson agreed to issue a preliminary injunction that maintains the agency's existence until she rules on the merits of a lawsuit seeking to preserve the agency. The judge said the court can and must act to save the agency from being shuttered. Jackson ruled that without a court order, President Donald... I'm not leaving. I'm just reading some stuff since we don't have any sound. It's hard for me to stay still, but yes, I'm resting. I know it is. I know it's hard for you to do that. And to some degree, when you're like a mom or a dad, you have to just get up and do it. You actually can't rest as much as you probably should. Yeah, USAID. I just can't even. I can't even believe that. Jackson ruled that, okay, blah, 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 blah. Jackson ruled that without a court order, President Donald Trump's administration would move quickly to shut down the agency that Congress created in the wake of the 2008 financial crisis. Quote, if the defendants are not enjoined, they will eliminate the agency before the court has the opportunity to decide whether the law permits them to do it. And as the defendant's own witness warned, the harm will be irreparable, Berman Jackson said in her order. Deepak Gupta, an attorney for the plaintiff, said in a statement that the ruling blocks the unprecedented plan to dismantle the CFPB, an agency that Congress created to protect Americans' financial security. This ruling upholds the Constitution's separation of powers and preserves the Bureau's vital work. We're heartened by the decision and look forward to continuing to press our case in court, Gupta said. During a March 10th hearing, Jackson heard testimony about the chaos that erupted inside the agency after the government employees were ordered to stop working last month. The Bureau's chief operating officer, Adam Martinez, said the agency was in wind-down mode after Trump fired its previous director, Rohit Chopra, on February 1st. The Trump installed a temporary replacement who ordered the immediate suspension of all agency operations, canceled $100 million in contracts, and fired 70 employees. Martinez said the agency's current leaders have adopted a more methodical approach than they initially did last month when representatives of Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency arrived at its Washington headquarters. CFPB is responsible for protecting the consumers from financial fraud and deceptive practices. It processes consumer complaints and examines banks to protect student loan borrowers. And just the other day, Congress voted to remove the cap on bounced, overdraft fees. Yeah, there was a $5 cap on overdraft fees, apparently, fought for by the CFPB, won, and it just got eliminated by the Congress. So, as one example of what the fuck this government is doing, chuds, who may or may not be listening, they are working against you. They are working against opportunities for you to preserve and grow your own wealth because it makes them and their donors, i.e. the banks, richer in this case. They love to pay more. Well, guess what? They're going to get their wish. This is the tracking. This actually is a good tracking thing. But it basically, you can see, let's see, what is the legend? It's partially or fully blocked, court left in effect, and pending. So the red is fully blocked, partially or fully blocked. The green or the court left those cuts in effect, and pending are the yellow. Wow. Oh, I see. Public Alliance for Retired Americans versus Besant. Plaintiffs seek to block Doge from Treasury payment systems. These are the ones where we didn't win. We didn't win on these ones. No, we didn't win on these. No. Nope. We're waiting to see. We won on these, kind of, the red. So this is great. This is a great link. I'm going to go ahead and put this link in the chat. Na, 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 na. There you go. There's the tracker. You can bookmark that on your own. That's great. Let me see. I have a couple more things to read to you. Don't read to me. Don't read to me. Oh, wait. I want to see what I stuck in here because I stuck something weird in here. No, 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 no. What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? Oh, I've been putting shit in here? Oh, man. I'm so dumb. When was this? This was Friday. Okay. Also, we talked a little bit about the law firms being targeted. And they're just... Oh, Law Suite Tracker. I spelled that wrong. Welcome to the law suite. Please, welcome. Have a seat. Welcome to the law suite. You don't have to read it here, but thought it was interesting. George Orwell article from 1947. Oh, hell yeah, I'm going to read that. Oh, hell yeah. All right. This is from Friday. Jenner and Block and Wilmer Hale. I think I will read that. I heard that on the radio this morning about the law firms. I didn't understand it. Yeah, they're going hard. They're trying to this is part of the butterfly revolution, frankly. It's part of taking down the infrastructure, the universities, the law firms, the judges. That's part of the dismantling. We are in the dismantling. This is my dismantle era. I'm in my dismantle era. The cathedral. Thank you, Max. Exactly. So, this is pretty overt. I mean, maybe it's too overt for people to go, excuse me. A plus B equals C. Well, there has heretofore been no such thing as pro bono work on behalf of a government, as far as I can tell. Exactly. Demanding work as a way to avoid... What? This is so fucking fascistic. Okay. 2 prominent law firms sued the Trump administration on Friday, seeking to block executive orders that would halt the firm's business with the government and revoke the security clearances of its attorneys. The 2 firms, Jenner and Block and Wilmer Hale, both sued in federal court in Washington and asked a judge to quickly step in and try and halt the orders. They are 2 of the 5 firms Trump has targeted with executive orders so far, all in retaliation for employing or representing political enemies. Political enemies. The other firms targeted are Paul Weiss, Covington and Burling, and Perkins Coie. Until Friday, only Perkins Coie had challenged the order in court and successfully convinced a U.S. district judge in Washington to block it. And other firms would too, but they have no balls. The suits are significant because they agree. The suits are significant because they come at a moment when there is deep concern that the legal community is not doing enough to push back against Trump's efforts to target firms. Lawyers and other experts see Trump's executive orders targeting firms as an anti-democratic program to intimidate adversaries and make it more difficult to challenge him and his administration in court. Today, Jenner and Block filed a lawsuit to stop an unconstitutional executive order that has already been declared unlawful by a federal court. We expect to prevail quickly, the firm said in a statement. For more than 100 years, Jenner has stood firm and tirelessly advocated for our clients against all adversaries, including against unlawful government action. We once again go to court to do just that. To do otherwise would mean compromising our ability to zealously advocate for all of our clients. In its own suit, lawyers for Wilmer Hale wrote, in an unprecedented assault on that bedrock principle, the president has issued multiple executive orders in recent weeks targeting law firms and their employees as an undisguised form of retaliation for representing clients and causes he disfavors or employing lawyers he dislikes. See, that's really it. That piece of retaliation that colors everything that this administration is doing, that's what people should be up in arms about, right? Even the maggots should be up in arms that you have retaliation being executed by a dear leader. Now, I understand some people think they want this daddy, but I don't think they really want a daddy because they spent a lot of time complaining about the daddies they had. Right? Like freedom. Remember that? So how is it that they just don't understand what freedom really means? Maybe. Okay. Wilmer Hale is being represented by Paul Clement, one of the most prominent conservative lawyers who argues frequently before the U.S. Supreme Court and served as Solicitor General in the George W. Bush administration. Quote, the order's declared purpose is to retaliate against Wilmer Hale and certain of its clients for Wilmer Hale attorneys. For Wilmer Hale attorneys' constitutionally protected advocacy in matters that President Trump perceives to be adverse to his personal and or political interests, the lawsuit says. The concern escalated after Paul Weiss reached an agreement with the Trump administration to withdraw the executive order against it. Another major firm, Skadden, Arps, Slate, Mager, and Flom, Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, reached an reached an agreement. That's the Three Stooges. All right, stop. Reached an agreement with the Trump administration to avoid an executive order. Among other things, it agreed to provide $100 million, $100 million in pro bono work in the Trump administration and beyond. What does that mean? In service of causes that the president and Skadden both support. What? Trump said in a statement posted on Truth Social. What? Where are we? Trump also said Skadden had agreed not to engage in, quote, illegal DEI discrimination and practices. Skadden is the first firm to reach an agreement with the Trump administration before an executive order was issued. This essentially was a settlement, the president said. Elmo targeted Skadden in a post on Twitter last week after Dinesh D'Souza, felon, complained that the firm should be punished for representing a Georgia man who sued him for defamation in connection with the film 2000 Mules. I can't. D'Souza apologized to the man for falsely accusing him of fraud. The film's distributor separately settled the lawsuit, agreed to stop distributing the film, and apologized to the guy, Andrews. Trump targeted Jenner and Block over the firm's employment of Andrew Weissman. Random, a former prosecutor who worked on Robert Mueller's investigation into the Trump campaign's relationship with Russia during the 2016 campaign. Weissman has not worked at the firm since 2021 and has been a prominent Trump critic, frequently appearing on television. Trump targeted Wilmer Hale because it once employed Mueller. What? I'm going to read that op-ed. Thanks, Gal. Musk said he's stepping down from one doggy. Oh, yeah. His step down, whatever he does, unless he's like 6 feet under, he's a problem. And I'm not putting him there because I'm not catching a case for that fool. But I'm telling you right now, he's really just going to be a problem, regardless of where he is and what he steps down from and blah, blah, blah. Because it's the money. Look at what he's doing in Wisconsin to try and get that Supreme Court judgeship for some rando. Urgh. Trump's gang will face a ton of lawsuits if they already can contract out its legal representatives to cowering law firms that agree to defend its government pro bono. Trump's gang is happy. I wonder if this is because also that the DOJ lawyers, maybe the holdouts from the last administration or whatever who are still there, are probably not the most enthusiastic. And frankly, the appearances in court by DOJ lawyers to this point has been embarrassing. Right? Has been embarrassing. So I could understand where Pam Bondi goes to dump and says, we need better lawyers because we need lawyers we can control. I can't control these lawyers. And the ones that I can control are really shitty in the courtroom. That's what I imagine is happening in the Oval Office. Yes, he is unhappy and unhealthy looking blob. He really does show all his feelings, which is weird. I always expect them to act better. You know what I mean? They have better acting skills, but they don't seem to actually have really good acting skills. Kind of odd. These are the major law firms that federal whistleblowers and employees would typically retain. So that's part of it too. Good point, Gal. Good point. He's a bad liar. No poker face. Yeah, he doesn't really have a great. Better lawyers don't fix what's wrong with cases. I know, but can you see a world where Pam Bondi is having that kind of thought? That so far the people that she's put in the courtroom have been absolutely torn to pieces by the judges. So I could see where she would be like, I need hostage lawyers. Thinking that I don't think that she thinks she has a case, but I think if she can force someone to be I don't know. Spoiled children, yeah. It's terrible. Okay, Jenner and Block suit filed in the federal district court in Washington, D.C. details how the order cripples the firm. Over the last 5 years, 40% of its revenue have come from clients who are government contractors, subcontractors, or affiliated with the government. It also says it harms the firm's pro bono practice because it may represent clients and take positions that are at odds with the administration. Yes, they are either hostages or thralls already. That's a good point. Let's see. That are odds. Okay. Lawyers from Cooley LLP, which is representing Jenner and Block, say that the executive order targeting the firm is blatantly unconstitutional. Well, guess what, Cooley? You're about to get your letter. The Constitution, top to bottom, protects against such attempts by the government to target citizens and lawyers based on the opinions they voice, the people with whom they associate, and the clients they represent. The lawsuit says creating a list of disfavored law firms, it says, is an anathema to our scheme of ordered liberty. What a beautiful saying. Anathema to our scheme of ordered liberty. I kind of like that. I think that's it. Okay. I want to go to this op-ed. Our law firm, this is an opinion. Our law firm won't cave to Trump. Who will join us? Donald Dumpy, dump. Okay, here we go. John Caker, Robert Van Nest, and Elliot Peters, writers, are the senior partners at the law firm Caker, Van Nest, and Peters. Well, that would make sense. President Trump this month issued an executive order clearly intended to destroy the venerable law firm Perkins Coie, a firm that has zealously represented clients large and small for more than a century. The order left no doubt that Perkins Coie's primary offense was representing Hillary Clinton in 2016 and standing up for other causes Mr. Trump views unfavorably. It could not have been, I'm missing some chat. Missing a chat. I know, right? I love that. Anathema to our scheme of ordered liberty. No problem. Yes, I know. All right. It could not have been more blatantly unconstitutional than if a legal scholar had been asked to draft a template for an unlawful executive order. It violates the First Amendment, contravenes fundamental due process rights, and imperils the Sixth Amendment right to counsel. On March 11th, the courageous and skillful law firm Williams & Connolly filed a lawsuit on Perkins Coie's behalf, seeking to enjoin the president's order on constitutional grounds. At a hearing the next day, Judge Beryl Howell of the Federal District Court in Washington issued an order temporarily barring enforcement of most of the order. The Justice Department responded by moving to disqualify Judge Howell, a motion she rejected in a withering opinion on Wednesday. Ooh. Is that the leak? Okay. All right. Oops. I see. You're going to not let me do that. All right. Our firm stands with Perkins Coie and all firms and lawyers who fight against this president's lawless executive actions. That's why we've called on other firms to join us in submitting a friend of the court brief in support of Perkins Coie. If lawyers and law firms won't stand up for the rule of law, who will? Beyond the Perkins Coie executive order, Mr. Trump has issued similar and equally unlawful executive orders directed at other law firms that have represented causes or people he doesn't like, including because they have sued him, investigated him, or contributed in some way to civil and criminal legal matters brought against him. That includes executive orders in recent days targeting the firms of WilmerHale, Jenner, and Block. He also issued a memorandum directed across the board at lawyers and law firms that have taken on causes he disfavors, including the pro bono representation of political asylum seekers. Oh, this is so evil. We applaud Jenner and Block's and WilmerHale's lawsuits filed Friday challenging the administration's executive orders. To the shock and dismay of many in our profession, the law firm Paul Weiss, with a tradition of fighting for justice and also the subject of one of Mr. Trump's executive orders, chose not to fight for itself or for our legal system. Instead, the firm capitulated, agreeing to direct $40 million worth of free legal work to causes Mr. Trump supports. Mr. Trump said on Friday that another major firm, Skadden Arps, had agreed to a similar arrangement to avoid an executive order punishing it. Paul Weiss's choice was particularly disappointing because it further empowered Mr. Trump's attack on our profession, and because Perkins Coie had already charted an alternative path with a high likelihood of success. I know, it should not be, it's not legal. I'm pretty sure. We understand that while many firms have agreed to sign on the Perkins Coie friend of the court brief, some large firms have hesitated or only conditionally agreed if enough of their peers do so first. No doubt they fear losing clients and incurring the president's ire. We sympathize. We take seriously our obligations to our clients, our associates, our staff, and their families. But at this crucial moment, clients need to find their courage too. And partners at big firms, who often earn millions a year, must be willing to take financial risks when the fate of our nation and the future of our profession and the rule of law itself is at stake. You can support a lawyer's right to represent unpopular clients and causes against powerful forces, essentially the oath we all took when becoming members of the bar. Or you can sit back, check your bank balance, and watch your freedoms, along with the legal system and the tripartite system of government we should not take for granted, swirl down the drain. This is not hyperbole. The common denominator among the president's recent spate of actions is that he appears to believe he has absolute authority to govern by fiat. What we've seen in the last few months tells us that we are moving ever closer to becoming an autocracy, and the current Congress is a lapdog that essentially offers no resistance. Along with the body politic as a whole, it seems the courts and the lawyers who advocate in them are all that stand in the way. A few brave judges will decide whether Mr. Trump is a president or a king. Knowing this, Mr. Trump attacks those judges and calls for their impeachment and sends out messages on social media trying to intimidate them. Our decision to speak on this issue was an easy one. We believe that one of the noblest things a lawyer can do is stand up against the government on behalf of a client whom the government seeks to destroy. When Mr. Trump was indicted and sued, he hired lawyers to defend him. They did a good job keeping him out of jail and preserving his fortune. For his administration to attack lawyers and firms whose members have annoyed or opposed or annoyed him is a threat to our democracy. Lawyers and big firms, for God's sake, stand up for the legal profession and for the Constitution. Defend the oath you took when you became officers of the court. If we stand together and fight, we will win. Hey, excuse me. Excuse me, really sexy guy. That's really good. That was an excellent read. That was good. Let me see about this George Orwell. Kind of curious. How long? Oh, it's pretty long. Damn. You know what? I might record this. That's what I'll do. I'll record this. I'll do that. I'll record this and put it out as a separate piece. Wow. Wow. Yeah, that'll be nice, actually. It'll be fun. I want to do a little more reading. I'd like to do some bedtime stories again. I really would like to get back to bedtime stories. I think it would be good. I don't know where to start. I mean, I know we were in the middle of a book, but it's 100 chapters. 100 chapters. It's a long book. It's a wonderful book. Ministry for the Future. It's a wonderful book. We have to get back to it. Good. I want to put you to sleep. I want to be so monotone. No, not monotone, but so not like we had earlier with the sound system, which I do need to fix. But let's see. What was the hold on, because there was a couple of other things that I had and I wanted to do boop boop. Is that what I want? No, I'm gonna do that on Friday. No, I'm gonna do that on Friday. Oop. Okay. Oh, God, just leave me alone. All right, here we go. Is this the American Bar Association? Is this something? Did we read the American Bar Association thing already? I think we did. Did we? All right, just make sure I have this. You know, hold on. Hold on. I don't know why I said that. Hold on to your love. You've got to hold on. Hold on to your love. You've got to hold on. All right. Put this in the archive and do. Put this in the archive and do. Ministry for the Future. Yeah. So I have to get back either to reading that at night. I want to do that. Did you guys like that? I mean, is that worth it? Do you want bedtime stories? I will do it. I don't know if people are into it. I would understand if you weren't. You think you would? Okay, good. You know, it's an option. Obviously, I'm not, it's not important if people like totally aren't able to do it. But oh, what happened? Where's my desktop? Where's my desktop? Oh my God, my computer is doing really weird stuff, you guys. Come back. Yeah, it's like books on tape. But I do it in like an ASMR voice. So it's like my reading voice, but I try to do it a little softer, if that makes sense. So I try to do it so that you could listen to the whole thing and not be disturbed. Hopefully. Hopefully. Okay, wait. What? Hegseth. Where's my Hegseth? Oh, here it is. There it is. Go out. Go away. Okay. Go away. All right. This is the archive version of the Pete Hegseth article. Let me put this in the chat. Bitch. I can't do audiobooks or attention one. Oh, okay. Yeah, you could listen to it when you're driving. All right, let me just do this. And this is the archive. This is the Wall Street Journal article. No paywall. I don't know how to say it. It's in an archive. I pushed it in an archive. Oh, good, Scott. Oh, Scott, it's so nice to see you. I'm so glad to see you, Scott. All right. So this is the Wall Street Journal article on Pete Hegseth bringing his bitch. Can she put a fucking safety pin so her titties aren't flying out everywhere? Just kidding. She's fine. But I don't understand this kind of physical thing. I'm not getting that. Okay. Anyway, who cares? I'm sorry. If you marry that guy, you're a fucking idiot. And you get all the shit that's coming at you, Jennifer. Defense Secretary Pete, hold my beer, Pigseth. Ew, she has poop hands too. Exactly. Thank you. I bet you she doesn't clean her whatchamacallit. Oh, I'm so glad, Scott. It's so nice of you to do that. I love lurkers. Is she making sure he's not drinking during meetings? Pig's breath. That's it. Defense Secretary Pete Pig's breath, who is facing scrutiny over his handling of details of a military strike, brought his wife, a former Fox News producer. Oh, so he shits where he eats. Okay, I get it. All right, whatever. Been there, done that. Been there, done that. Had the baby. No. Brought his wife, a former Fox News producer, to 2 meetings with foreign military counterparts. Yeah, who among us has not drunk before a meeting? No, I'm just kidding. I haven't. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Foreign military counterparts where sensitive information was discussed, according to multiple people who were present or had knowledge of the discussions. That's what we need. We need massive leakers. Come on, people. Massive leaking constantly. The shit's where he eats is a telling metaphor for poop hands. Let's see. What do you mean telling metaphor? Is that for me? No, never mind. Okay, one of the meetings, a high-level discussion at the Pentagon on March 6th between Pig's Breath and UK Secretary of Defense John Healey, who is a hottie bald guy. Oh my God, mama wants. Anyway, and he's a baddie. Took place at a sensitive moment for the transatlantic alliance, one day after the U.S. said it had cut off military intelligence sharing with Ukraine. The group that met at the Pentagon, which included Admiral Tony Ratican, the head of the UK's armed forces, discussed the U.S. rationale behind that decision, as well as future military collaboration between the two allies, according to people familiar with the meeting. I did fire a woman once who brought her husband to the firing. I did have that happen once in my career. I wouldn't date a person who likens dating to excretion. Or I would and also tease, which would probably end the dating. Oh, does that mean I think that's a diss on me. Okay. What? Uh-oh. Um Pig Breath's wife, Jennifer Pig's Breath, isn't a Defense Department employee, defense officials said. It isn't uncommon for spouses of senior officials to possess low-level security clearances, but a Pentagon spokesperson declined to say whether Jennifer has one. Jennifer didn't respond to requests for comment. A secretary can invite anyone. It is about the statement, which I guess no one ever really thinks about. I guess so. I don't know. I feel pretty much like I did something. But anyway, a secretary get blah, blah, blah. Okay. There is often security near the meeting space to keep away uninvited attendees. Pig's Breath wife, Jennifer, isn't a Defense Department employee, defense officials said. It isn't. Oh, wait. Whoops. Did I messed up. Okay. Did we do that? No. There is often security. Okay. Yeah, fine. All right. And there they are. Where's Pig's Breath's wife? Is she back here? Is she incognito? Is she dressed as Susan Collins? No. Oh, there she is. I get it. All right, there she is. Jennifer Pig's Breath also attended a meeting last month at the North Atlantic Treaty Organization headquarters in Brussels, where Allied defense officials discussed their support for Ukraine. According to two people who attended the meeting, Pig's Breath's brother, Philip Pig's Breath, has also been traveling with him on official visits. The Pentagon said, well, you got to have your wingman. Come on. The Brussels meeting, which took place on the sidelines of a February conference of NATO defense ministers, was a gathering of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group, a U.S.-led forum of some 50 nations that periodically meets to coordinate on production and delivery of weapons and other support for Ukraine. At the closed-door discussions, national representatives routinely present confidential information such as donations to Ukraine that they don't want to be made public, according to officials. Some foreign attendees at the meetings didn't know who Jennifer Pig's Breath was, according to people familiar with the gatherings. Others were surprised by her presence, but proceeded without raising objections, the people said. It isn't clear whether her presence affected what was discussed at either session. Members of Congress from both parties have raised concerns about Pig's Breath handling of sensitive military information following revelations that he and other administration officials used a group chat on the Signal messaging platform that included a journalist to discuss and execute a strike on Houthi militants in Yemen. Senator Roger Wicker from Mississippi, the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, and Senator Jack Reed from Rhode Island, the ranking Democrat on the panel, sent a letter Wednesday asking the Defense Department Inspector General to launch an inquiry into the chat. Oh, that's good. High-ranking Defense Department officials occasionally bring their spouses on official travel and to ceremonial functions. At a news conference during the NATO conference in Brussels, Pig's Breath told reporters that Jennifer had joined him and had, quote, been meeting with families of U.S. troops in Belgium and Germany. That's so nice. Hi, Tom. Quote, but it is rare for spouses who are private citizens to sit in on national security meetings, according to current and former defense officials. Maybe she pops out of the cake. She might. She might. The uranium cake? No. Good morning. Good morning. When you have meetings with ministers or high-level NATO officials, those meetings almost always include sensitive security conversations, said Chuck Hagel, a Republican former Secretary of Defense under President Barack Obama. If you are going to discuss top-secret national security issues, you have to be very selective. What's the relevancy of the person you are inviting? For a secretary's wife to be present in such conversations, Hagel said, quote, it sends a message to the department. Why is the secretary doing that? It puts staff on guard over what to say and to whom. It introduces an issue you don't need to introduce. That's a great statement. Where is she? I don't even see her. Oh, kiss him. Oh, they're making out. That's disgusting. My God. PDA? That's terrible. I mean, actually, it's sweet, but it's kind of weird. It's kind of, hi, SB. How are you? Hola, I'm trying to listen from work today. Hope everyone's having a good Monday. Yeah, so far, so good. So far, so good. I got to do a couple things, but so far, so good. Let's see. High-ranking former official in the Obama administration said Bill Clinton never attended any meeting with then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, though he did go to North Korea to secure the release of a reporter. The person knew of no instance in which a spouse attended any official meeting. That would be strange, the former official said, and would not make any sense. Sean Parnell, a spokesman for the Defense Department, said in an email response to a detailed request for comment that it is, quote, pretty clear to me that your story is going to be filled with inaccuracies and will not be written in good faith. Parnell didn't clarify what the inaccuracies were. Spokespeople for NATO and UK Ministry of Defense declined to comment. In the previous Dump administration, Mike Pompous-ass Pompeo drew scrutiny over the role of his wife, Susan Pompous-ass Pompeo, while he was head of the Central Intelligence Agency. God, I forgot about that. And later the Department of State. Susan was involved in CIA social events, held an honorary role on a board supporting agency family members, and often worked near her husband on the CIA's 7th floor, a spokesman for the agency acknowledged in 2018 in response to reporting by media outlets. She also delegated work to State Department employees on behalf of her husband, including some work of a personal nature that a 2021 Inspector General report found to be inappropriate. But nothing happened. They're shoving it down our throat. Yeah, exactly. As long as you don't stop putting all your heterosexualness in front of me. God, making me sick. Don't fuck with my kids. Don't shove that heterosexual shit down my kid's throat. Popping in for a minute between meetings. Let me know if there will be a space tonight. I got some feelings and facts that I want to share. There will be a space, but it's going to be a little laterly. So watch for the time and see if it, I hope it works out. And then we can put you up in the front and you can share. You can share first and just go first so you don't have to stay up all night. Oomph new vid. Oomph has a new video? I didn't know. That's great. Where is it? I'll get it. I'll get it after I finish reading this. For Pig's Breath, Peg Seth. For Hegseth, Pig's Breath. And what is it? Peg Seth. A second family member is also getting involved. His younger brother. I'll find the link. Philip Hegseth, a podcast producer for the conservative think tank, the Hudson Institute. 2, maybe a little crueler than usual. Keep your poop hand love away from my eyes, really. Hi, Black Bear. Where are you? Hi. How are you, friend? Oh my gosh, so good to see you. Good to see you, Black Bear. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. His younger brother, Philip Pig's Breath, a podcast producer for the conservative think tank, the Hudson Institute, and the venture capital firm Andreessen Horowitz. Oh, well, isn't that funny? Because you're in Rome, Italy? Oh, chat. Oh, wait. I don't speak any Italian. I'm trying to think of anything with the Italian, and I can't. Buongiorno. Buongiorno. Had enough. I'm out. Okay, all right. I know. I get it. Oh, I hope you're having a great time, though. The food is really amazing. I think the food's really amazing. Good for you. That's so great. Italiano. I hope you're on to more adventures. I think it's a beautiful thing to be away. Yeah, I know. I really want to hear what Lee has to say, especially as this week comes up our butts. Ugh. All right, so he's working for Mark Andreessen, who's part of the evil geniuses, I'd like to call him. And they're not geniuses, the evil assholes. He's part of that whole thing, Andreessen. Mark Andreessen's a real dick, by the way. Now he's got a cushy government job. Yep, he goes all over the world. But now, he recently joined the Department of Homeland Security as a liaison to the Department of Defense. I mean, is that not nepotism? Doesn't the federal government have rules against nepotism? Like, I think there's actual rules in their hiring practices about that. Am I wrong? I've never held a federal position, but I think I've known people who do, and I don't think you can do that. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I have to look that up. I'll have to check my media literacy on that. Philip and Pete Pig's Breath traveled to Guantanamo Bay on a LARP. Yeah, Hudson Institute, Mass Institute of Destruction. Yeah. I know people. Philip and Pete traveled to Guantanamo so that they could get their rocks off together last month and met with the Irish martial artist Conor McGregor at the Pentagon in March, another loser, according to photographs published on the Defense Department website. This is all just like a big party for them. This is like a total party. Philip and Pete, okay, blah, 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 blah. Nobody commented. Philip is currently traveling with Hegseth on the tour to visit American allies and bases in Asia, Wilson said. The Department of Homeland Security didn't respond to a request for comment. Why is he traveling with him if he works for DHS? Why is he traveling with him? Why? What does one have to do with the other? Jennifer who has spent her career in television news, met Pete when she was producer on Fox and Friends, which Pig's Breath hosted on the weekends. The two married in 2019. She later became vice president at Fox Nation, the network streaming service, but is no longer an employee at the company, according to Fox News. What guy from Wyoming? Which one? What guy from Wyoming? The network streaming, but is no longer employee, blah, blah, blah. Fox News, parent corp, blah, 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 blah. Share comment. Okay, whatever. Both Jennifer and Philip were near constant fixtures at Pig's Breath's side during his contentious confirmation process. For Defense Secretary, photographs show them flanking him through the hallways as he courted senators during one-on-one meetings in Capitol Hill. Some senators were surprised that Pig's Breath invited Jennifer to sit next to him in their private meetings, making it awkward to ask questions about allegations related to infidelity and sexual misconduct, said people familiar with senators' thinking. Oh, shit. Photos and videos from a brief news conference that directly preceded the March meeting with the UK's Healy showed Jennifer filing into the conference room and taking a seat behind her husband. Other attendees who numbered in the teens included high-ranking military officials and diplomatic officials. Healy hoped to discuss America's changing involvement in the war in Ukraine, he said in response to a reporter's question before the meeting. It's the detail of those discussions, which are rightly behind the scenes, that the Defense Secretary and I will now pursue this afternoon, Healy said. The media departed. Jennifer Hegseth, Pig's Breath, there she is, stayed. I added the journalist because I wanted to set up this administration. Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. So that's the Wall Street Journal. Okay, let me find oomph. Hold on. La 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 la. Oops. Can't spell. Can't spell. I can't spell. Yeah. Crying and crying and affirmations. Oh, I see. Okay. Do 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 do. Hold on. Here it is. Let's play the first one. Oh no. Oh no, is it not going to hold on, let me just see. Oh fuck. Okay. Well, I would love to do it. I would love to play it. What's all this? What's this? We don't have ROs. Oh. That's how it sounds? Oh, okay. Reed Rasner. Oh, I haven't heard that story. Upcoming Zoom baby may be worth registering for. I will try. I mean, let me link both. Let me link Oomph's channel and these videos. Hold on. That's the minimum I can do because damn it, this should have worked, but it's not letting me. Nobody's letting me do anything. What's the make and model of your mic? It's a Rode. It's a Rodecaster. I mean, I have a Rodecaster. I just don't know. Something's wrong with my PC and routing the sound from the desktop through the system. I don't know why it's having such a problem. I've obviously I clicked a setting and I think I fucked up. But here is channel, and then these are the two newest videos. La 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 la. Video. Have I checked all 27 of the? I know, right? That's one video, and the other. There. All right. So check those out. Share widely. Share widely. Promote artists. I can't wait to listen to them. I'm going to have to fix that sound. Of course. Absolutely. Anytime. Anytime. Happy to do it. That's what it's all about. Supporting each other's art. Push all the art up. You might enjoy the Subjects Cry stream if you haven't seen it. I have not. I have not seen any of it. I can't wait. I'm going to fix my sound and I'm going to do it. Take a look. Well, I think what I'll do is go now and fix this fucking computer so that you don't have to like listen to alien invasion when we're trying to watch something. And I will see you later for a space if I do. If I don't, I understand. I'll still try to put it on Discord. I fuck up every time, and God knows today's not the best sound, but I'm going to try again. Every week I'm going to try and put it on Spaces or try to put it on Discord. And let's see. And then I do have Wake and Bakes all this week. I just haven't put up placeholders. That's just me. That's me. That's a me problem. So today I'll fix all that. There will be placeholders for every show this week. And it'll be an interesting week. So yeah, hang in there. Do the best you can. If you can't be with the one you love the one you're with. It's in my head now. It was the song Lolo was singing. Oh. The part where they threw the papers was funny. I can't wait. Okay. All right. I'll see you guys later. Have a wonderful day. I can watch if someone posted Discord Spaces is that. So yeah, I understand. Okay. Yeah, no problem. I totally get it. All right. Thanks everyone for coming. Thank you so much. I will definitely talk to you later and most definitely see you hopefully